Hello, I'm that guy, and this is Late to the Party, your one-stop shop for Dungeon Party recaps. You want to watch Bright Futures, but you don't want to watch the whole backlog? Then you're in the perfect place. Here on Late to the Party, we'll be recapping Bright Futures episodes, 5 episodes at a time. So, strap right in. Welcome to the Bright Futures Initiative, a 5-year program in the Zymor Empire designed to condition young hopefuls to become the heroes of tomorrow. Our players, the inaugural class of the Bright Futures Initiative, include Tether, formerly an elf, currently a mushroom, and very confused about the social customs of the world, having grown up in a cult. Una Notwise, a quiet, studious halfling from a family of entertainers. Septon Xanthus, a mysterious yet charming summer Eladrin. Shandi Silvereyes, a shifter who's used to the fineries of court living. And Turn, an animal-loving, happy-go-lucky tiefling with a very short attention span. With a group like this, what could go wrong? A lot could go wrong. In our first episode, the students tour their new home, the Hagen Estate, with the head administrator, Mrs. Lee. They also pick out their rooms and learn the rules of the program.
There aren't many rules. In fact, there are only 3, but we might have to add a 4th one, just based off of how this tour went. The first is that you as students must obey anything told to you by me, your instructors, or Captain Sheena. The second rule is that you must get permission from me to use the facilities after sundown, let's say about 8 p.m., as sundown does tend to change as the year goes on. And the final rule is you are not allowed to enter the forest without express permission from one of the faculty or instructors. And I should say, the 4th rule, please use the washrooms and the privies around campus when you need to relieve yourselves. Do not simply do it anywhere. I think poor Kerfley would lose what hair he has left if we did this to him. Yes?
They learn that they'll primarily be attending 3 different courses. Tactics, taught by the world-weary paladin, Brom Kusmal. Academics, taught by the no-nonsense Elitha Veerwarden. And Politics, taught by the inscrutable incubus, Kolrel. Of course, the launch of a new program would be incomplete without a stuffy banquet. That night, at the banquet, the students prove their capacity for mischief. Turn and Tether sneak out early, Tether making a break for the woods. You know, the ones they're not allowed to go into. Meanwhile, Septon and Una work together to end the banquet early with a well-placed rat illusion. When they realize that Tether has gone missing, the rest of the students set off on a rule-breaking rescue mission to the forest. All is not quiet in the forest. Someone deep inside is singing. Quickly, the song loses its melody and turns to cries for help, and the rest of the students reunite with Tether to face their first challenge as the heroes of tomorrow: to rescue this mysterious singing being from a pack of monstrous teleporting dogs. The aforementioned rescue goes off with minimal hitches at the beginning of episode 2. The group saves Elias, a young man with large antlers and skin coated with ice from the pack of dogs. He explains that the group will be able to hear his song from wherever they are before disappearing as a battalion of estate guards crashes in on his moment of gratitude. Back at the estate, Captain Sheena, the Tabaxi captain of the guard, saddles the students with a strict curfew for their disobedience and places them under the somewhat watchful eye of a young guard named William Johnson. Trouble continues to follow the students into their first day of classes. In Tactics class, the training dummies come alive and throw the students into an off-curriculum course of combat. Brom sends the most injured among them to the ancient groundskeeper Kerfley. He's kind to the students on the surface, but gives Septon alone an ominous message. Their master is watching, and he will be in contact soon. Meanwhile, in Academics class, Elitha hands the students a large research project with a very short deadline as punishment for their escapade in the woods last night. But worry you not, there still is time for shenanigans. Kolrel, in Politics class, tasks our heroes with egging a student from the nearby Felfrit College. In their misfortune, they peg Arlith Favelar, a wealthy, short-tempered boy who swears vengeance upon them all. But I'm sure there won't be any consequences for that. The Felfrit students aren't all bad eggs, though. That same day, Una befriends awkward, bookish Ellie, another student from Felfrit College, who agrees to help out with Elitha's massive research project. As the rest of the students do their best to be studious, Septon seeks the opposite in Chef, the head cook of the estate, who offers to trade him alcohol for rare mushrooms. Their first day of classes complete, the students head to bed, lulled to sleep by the sound of Elias's song, until suddenly, it stops. You didn't really think this group would stick to their curfew, did you? We open episode 3 with another sneaky expedition, this time to circumvent the watchful gaze of Johnson, who stands guard outside to keep them out of trouble. Or at least that's what he would be doing if he hadn't fallen asleep. The group rushes into the forest to save Elias, but instead encounter Mel, a sadistic blonde-haired boy who uses magic candy to turn the trees into horrible entities that attack the party. As he talks to you, his enunciation is surprisingly clear considering the lollipop sticking out of one side of his mouth and the single fang on the other. I warned you.
Thanks, I hate it.
He calls down to you and says, Well, we thought you might show up again. It seems my puppies weren't enough to do the job last time, so now Pell is after the Ice Kid and I'm here for you. I'm really glad my little sword trick didn't work, though. I wanted to see you for myself.
Start
All right,
walking
as
away
you start turning
unless
around, you see the candies land on the ground, and where they do, the dead pines and twigs and leaves start shaking and forming into these small little creatures made out of vines and twigs. Before they can attack Mel directly, he is ferried away by the maelstrom known as Pell, an elven woman who can control earth and fire. Our heroes track the despicable duo to a crumbling fort on the other side of the forest, where they're holding Elias captive until someone who works at the Bright Futures Initiative can come retrieve him from them. They can't let this happen to their new friend, but they are forced to retreat when Pell catches wind of their presence and nearly kills them on the spot. They regroup at the estate with plans to come back the following night and rescue their friend then. In episode 4, our heroes solidify their plans. Turn and Tether will keep watch for Pell and Mel's inside man from the top of the school's tower. Una and Shandi will ambush said inside man, and Septon will get Sheena and her guards to go to the crumbling fort on the other side of the forest as backup. It's too bad that the students still have to go to school during all this, huh? And to make matters worse, a representative from the extant Sortilegium, a collection of the world's most influential wizards, arrives to voice her disapproval of the Bright Futures program, and she's far from likely to be the last one to do so. Una also learned some interesting things about her new friend Ellie's family. Turns out Ellie is the great niece of Casimir Orion, the founder of the Bright Futures Initiative. She also tells Una that Casimir is looking for a magical icy stag. Sound familiar? Upon arriving home for the day, the group finds a bowl of candy that they assume have been planted there by Mel, so they quickly toss it in the lake next to their house. Finally, the hour of the plan arrives, and everything that can go wrong does. Elitha insists that she chaperone Turn and Tether to the top of the tower. Una and Shandi are ambushed by soldiers who have been possessed by Mel's candy, and Sheena scolds Septon for the recklessness of their plan moments before a batch of monstrous mutated eels burst from the lake and attack them both. To top it all off, in this darkest hour, Pell lands on the roof of the tower. Episode 5 finds the students fighting for their lives and unlocking new abilities. Turn gains the ability to summon and control birds, which he uses to help him and Tether escape from Pell in the tower. Shandi's weapons can be brought back to his hand at will, and Una gains the ability to summon blades made of pure psionic energy. Septon, moments before being eaten alive by a giant eel, is consumed by shadow and becomes a ferocious beast. Somehow, by the skin of their teeth, everyone survives. In the aftermath of the battle, Casimir Orion himself frees them from their curfew, allowing them to return to the crumbled fort to search for their friend Elias. Unfortunately, he's not there. He's already been moved, and they have no idea where to look for him. And to top it all off, Elitha's big research project is due the very next day. These guys can't catch a break. And that is it for episodes 1 through 5 of Dungeon Party Bright Futures. I've been Blake, this has been Late to the Party, and we'll catch you in the next one.